will be creating a HR agent where we can ask questions of both our structured and unstructured HR related data. So we will get behind the scenes, but first I just wanted to show the end product and then back up to see how we actually get here. So here we are in the Snowflake Intelligence interface, which is really a chat interface to connect to your agents that can route questions to both your structured data and your unstructured data. So here you can see I am connected to the HR agent that I've created. And again, I'll show you how I create that after this. And then in my sources tab, I can click on a source that I know will answer the question that I'm asking for it to scan less data or a quicker response time. But if I don't know whether my question's going to the structured data or the unstructured or a combination, I can leave it on auto select. So first I will start out by asking what is my attrition rate. So I have a table that tracks whether or not employees were terminated. And you can see as it's planning its next step, it's telling you exactly what it's doing, what data it's going to be using. And now it's determined that the attrition rate is 18%. It also tells you exactly how it calculated that rate by dividing the number of terminated employees by the total number of employees in the organization. If that is somehow not how you calculate attrition rate and you have a business-specific definition of that, you would add that to the semantic model for the structured data behind the scenes as a new metric. Let's ask one question of the unstructured data just to show the types of information that we have here. So let's do this one. So I am a non-associate and I have jury duty. And I'm wondering, do I get paid for this? And behind the scenes, there is a PDF document that outlines the jury duty specifications, and it says that you will not receive paid leave for jury duty as a non-associate, and then it gives more explanation here. You can also show the details of the thinking steps as well as the sources that it used, and here is the PDF document on the jury duty compensation. All right, so let's get behind the scenes here and show how we got to this. I'll start with this setup notebook that I ran, and most of this is just showing the PDF documents here. So I uploaded 3 PDF documents, one on the travel policy, one on jury duty, and one on work from home for 2025. And then here I'm using the Snowflake Cortex function called parse document. And so I am extracting the text from my PDF documents here. You can see all of the text showing up. And here I'm creating a new table called parse to HR docs. So I'm doing exactly what I did above, just inserting that output into a table. So I'm saving the relative path. I'm calling that Cortex function parse document as the raw text from the file or from the PDF document and inserting it here. Here's the results from my parsed HR docs table. So I have 1 row per document and the parsed text. And now we'll go ahead and chunk the text. So we have a table called HR doc chunks, and then we are calling the Snowflake Cortex function called split text recursive character to extract the chunks. And let's see what that looks like. These are really small documents. They are like 1/4 of a page long. So this was just sample synthetic data that I had AI create for me. And so you can see there's only 2 chunks for jury duty, 2 chunks for work from home policy, and only 1 chunk for international travel policy since it's so short. If you had much longer documents, there'd be many more rows for chunking. Here I am creating the search service called HR Docs Search Service. I am giving it the chunk column that we have here, giving it a target lag, the warehouse to run on, and here's my select statement from the HR doc chunks table. It's pulling the relative path and the chunk. Okay, so I'm going to end that setup here. The rest is kind of additional. You can create a search service for the employee name that might help improve the fuzzy match when we are asking questions about employees that maybe we are spelling their name wrong or using different capitalization methods, etc. So this can be added on a little bit later. But our setup for the unstructured data is at least baseline complete right here. So let's move to the unstructured side, or sorry, the structured side of the house. So I will go ahead and go to our semantic model through the Studio, Cortex Analyst, and here is our semantic model. I've already added to this model, but you can always just create a new semantic model from the UI and select the tables that you'd like to include, and then add synonyms and custom instructions and verified queries, etc., to really build out the business context behind the data so that you can get more accurate responses for your particular scenario. So here I have synthetic data for employees. So I have dimensions such as first name, last name, gender, employment status, so whether they're terminated or active, their email, their manager, their employee ID. And then I have an employee leave table that tracks what type of leave the employee is taking, as well as the leave start date and end date. And then I have an employee performance table that tracks all of the performance reviews for a given employee. So I started by defining some relationships, so making sure that it knew to join on employee ID in both the employee performance to the employees table as well as employee leave to employees. And then I've developed some verified queries for common questions that might be asked of this model. So how many employees are out on leave? You can see the query behind the scenes is selecting where the current date is between the start and end of the leave dates. So we're getting the current people out on leave here. And I've verified that that question is accurately answered by this query, so that it makes it easier for when that question or questions like this are answered again, it will be answered accurately. You can also test out your semantic model here. So if I use one of my verified queries, how many employees are out on leave? And we can see it is in fact a verified query, and we have no employees out on leave currently. All right, and then if you go into the AIML tab and you click agents, you can see that I already have an agent set up, but you could, oh, sorry. I already have my agent set up here. You can also create a new agent via the UI. But I gave it a very basic overview. The HR agent helps navigate through HR related data to get quick answers to your questions that would normally involve an HR rep. You can give it some custom instructions. I didn't for this purpose. And then here's where you connect your semantic model and your search service. So I labeled my semantic model HR data and my search service HR docs, just to kind of differentiate between like that structured data with semantic model and the unstructured side of the house with the documents. You can add multiple search services and semantic models here, but for this particular demo, it is just one of each. And I added one sample question, but you could add more as well. So creating this agent is what makes it available, as long as it's available to the role that you are in Snowflake Intelligence. So once I created the agent, I could see that agent right here, and I click on that. So it's now having the context for my semantic model and my search service as I ask the questions here. And that is the demo. Thank you for listening.